of course, because that's the time you want to do that. I'm Chris Spags, joined by my good pal, the Chubster, Josh Engelman. How you doing, Josh?
I'm cold.
I'm not that cold, but it's warmed up a little here in California. It was a brisk 50 degrees last week, which I was not happy with, but we're back. We're doing well.
So we get the worst of it right now. Let me retweet this tweet quick. I want to make sure I get the weather correctly. It feels like 50 and only raining. It's just gross. Like, I'd rather it just be cold and get the snow or not cold at all. But now it's just cold and wet. So I'm going to eat chili today and sit on the couch and watch football. But thanks, Mother Nature.
Nothing will warm you up faster than the methane from your own intestines that chili will create.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a good one.
We are presented by Thrive Fantasy. As always, thank you to Thrive. They are the app where you use prop bets to get ahead of the field in daily fantasy sports. And again, if you are a person who is a regular customer of this site, you should know that a lot of these things that are going to help you get advantaged. I mean, we've been doing well with NBA Thrive bets on all the shows, surprisingly well, to be honest, where our hit rate was really high other than stupid Lori Marketing that one day. Rat bastard. But for NFL, same thing. Our projections will help you out a lot with that. So go click the link we're going to drop in the chat, which I don't have open, but we'll drop in the chat shortly. It's a link to go download the app. You could also download it straight off of the App Store. It's called Thrive Fantasy. They're a great app. Let's talk about a prop bet for Jameis Winston up front. They have him at over 3. If my phone didn't lock while we were talking, that'd be swell. They have him at over 312.5 yards. Would you go over under for Jameis, Josh?
It's hard to not want to go over there, right?
It is, but the Saints defense actually not as bad the last month or so. So I think there could be some cause for concern, but I'm not playing a ton of Jameis this week. I will say that much.
I am going a different direction. So I'm in for it. Give me the over. I'm hoping for the over at least.
I will take the under here. Go check that link. If you want to take Josh's side of this bet, which as apparently a big Jameis supporter, we'll talk about that in a second, go click that link, bit.ly/ThriveLBL. You get $10 free with any $10 deposit, $20 for a $100 deposit, and $50 for $200 or more. So go click that link, bit.ly/ThriveLBL, and you get the deposit right away. It's not a slow release one. They're very generous. They give it to you the second, and you just got to play it, and you can take it out. So go ThriveLBL, bit.ly/ThriveLBL. How much Jameis do you have?
Let's see what I got on my last crunch. Like 20 maybe? Yep, 20.
Okay, that's good. It's a good bit of Jameis.
It is a good bit of Jameis.
Okay.
Is that too much, Jameis? Is that what you're telling me?
I think it might be a little too much. I mean, okay, well, I'll tell you who I have 20% of.
All right, go ahead.
Do you want to guess?
If you say Josh Allen, you should probably change your lineups.
You, sir, are correct. 20%. At least in one tournament, I do have 20% Josh Allen. So here's a little anecdote for you. I played Madden yesterday.
Oh, God. Sorry,
Last
everybody.
night, I came home, played a little Madden. Josh Allen, 500 yards and 7 touchdowns versus these same New York Jets. I don't want to project him for that much. It seems a little aggressive. But 400 yards and 6 touchdowns out of range? I don't think so.
Have fun.
The rushing upside's crazy. And then actually, no, the thing that sold me for real, on the contrary, yesterday, Evan Silva mentioned, so the Jets lost their top linebacker. They're really the fastest one who's been covering guys. They're also a man defense, so it's not going to be a zone thing where they're actually going to keep an eye on him and spy him and watch him like any team should be doing, but they're not doing yet. I have a hard time fading his rushing upside. I think the connection with Zay Jones is a real thing. The air yards are pretty crazy for Zay Jones and for Robert Foster and Isaiah McKenzie. I think there's enough guys there who are getting deep balls thrown to them. So a bad defense plus Josh Allen just chucking the ball all over. I think there's a shot at upside there. So I'm not going to make the mistake I played last week where I didn't play Josh Allen, even though we talked about it. I played him this much. This week I'm going this much.
Both of those are fine. 20% is probably a little healthy in my opinion.
He's at 5% ownership this week, so people are catching up to him. I think I worry a little this could be the week to jump off of him and go to McCoy or somebody.
So instead you went 4 times the field?
Correct.
So apparently you're not worried about that at all?
Well, I am mentally, but I just my fingers just do what they do. That's all the ladies will tell you. All the ladies and a handful of gentlemen will tell you.
Gross.
My fingers just do what they do.
Gross.
I ride EMAC. I ride with Spags. I appreciate that. Look, last week we talked about Josh Allen versus Aaron Rodgers as like kind of an overall quarterback thing. Aaron Rodgers, probably a better play this week. Almost definitely. I mean, he's definitely a better quarterback currently. But from a fantasy perspective, if Josh Allen's going to run for, let's say, half the yards he's running for the last few weeks, that's a pretty nice floor for a guy who's at 5,500 on a slate where nobody's going to him, really.
I get what you're saying. I'm not.
I wouldn't support it.
I'm not looking for a high floor.
Sure. No, that's fair. That's fair. I'm just intrigued by him. I think he is an intriguing real life video game player, is what he is. So he's Madden Mike Vick, brought to life in a large countrified white man's body. So he's intriguing. Talk about the other half of that equation from last week. What do you do with Aaron Rodgers?
I have 9% Aaron Rodgers right now, so just with the field. I don't really love that game.
Because of the weather?
I don't want to say because of the weather, because that's not totally it, but like I'm hoping that he just doesn't come up, or like most of this game just doesn't come up and I don't have to deal with it. So yeah, I guess because of the weather.
Interesting. Okay, so I kind of like the Packers, and I like the Packers stack, like going onslaught with them and going Rodgers, Jones, and Adams, and running it back with Julio. Because I do think a lot of those issues were Mike McCarthy based, and people don't seem to be taking that bait as much as I thought they would. I thought there'd be more ownership on the Packers because of the McCarthy narrative, but it doesn't seem like people are going that way.
It's a rough spot, and I don't know. I'm going to assume that it's not just McCarthy and that the Packers simply aren't that good.
I think it's a lot of McCarthy. And how is it a rough spot? Atlanta's so bad.
Just 10-degree weather in Green Bay is not optimal for slinging the rock around.
It's where they thrive, though. It's not, I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like I worry
in 1964?
No, look, I feel like Aaron Rodgers has had some games where you see his breath and he still slings it to Adams downfield. And, I was going to mention Donald Driver. I remember Donald Driver having lots of days where he's wearing no sleeves and running and jumping into the...
Okay, so 1998?
Wasn't Donald Driver more recent than that? Greg Jennings too.
Sterling Sharp.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the matchup. I think it's a good one. I don't think it's a great one for Matt Ryan, but I think Julio's going to get there. Julio just had a bad week last week because they bracketed him with the Ravens, and the Ravens are a better coverage team.
I have no Julio, and that I'd probably set his exposure to 0 if I could.
He's at a decent price. I don't know if is he higher priced on FanDuel because he's under 8K on DraftKings.
He's the 4th highest priced wide receiver on FanDuel today.
Okay. Yeah, DraftKings this week, you kind of have Julio, you have Mike Evans, you have Keenan Allen, all kind of in the same range, like I think a $500 difference. And I like all those guys. They're all pretty interesting to me. Let's see. Any good questions yet? Nothing good. People just talking.
People just talk.
Hey, just chat amongst yourselves. Also,
people.
Make sure to like this video. We are currently doing our 24 days of giveaways. Every single day, we're giving away something as our thanks to you from Awesemo this holiday season. From all of us at Awesemo, not just Awesemo, from every single one of us working at Awesemo, we are giving you something this holiday season. So all you have to do is like this video, comment your Josh Allen stat line on the static version of this video, not in the live chat. Once this video ends, there'll be kind of a normal YouTube chat thing where you can just go in there. It's a lot to ask of you, but it's worth it because we are also entering you into a grand prize at the end of it all to win an all-access premium pass. And right now, we're giving every single day, we're giving away a single month sport of your choosing at awesemo.com. So you can pick any sport, NFL, NBA, MLB, if you want to hold out. PGA, follow your heart, you can choose it. Or you get a new merch item from our store at shop.awesemo.com. It's a brand spanking new store. We got lots of cool stuff going on there. You might see some hosts wearing it soon if we ever start fulfilling that. So go like this video, leave a comment on the static version afterwards, and you'll be entered to win both the month pass or a piece of merch. Oh, God, indigestion in the morning. What is going on here?
You can get underwear with my face on it, people. Just go get it.
We actually could make that. We are taking item requests too. If you go to that merch store and you think about something you want that we don't have right there, just tell us and we'll get it. If you want a Chubster 6'9" shirt, we could probably make that happen. So go to those shops.
I do.
Awesome. We talked about that actually with Tom. We were like, what would merch be? And I was like, what a Chubster 6'9".
It's that or Chubster 420, right?
Yeah, I think so. Actually, Chubbs for 420 might be more logical, but Chubbs for 6'9" seems more like a football player's jersey, I think.
Or we go full WWE and go Chubster 316.
What would your saying for that be?
Oh man.
I just crunched your numbers.
Yeah, that's the same direction I was going.
I just crunched your ass. And then you have to. I would do that just to see you have to like do a merch campaign for it where you do Stone Cold reenactments. Driving to Chicago with a beer truck.
I'm so hungry right now. I made a ham yesterday, but that's probably not what people care about.
I care. I care about your ham.
Appreciate it.
How'd it come out? Good
Fantastic.
ham? Okay. And I support your ham. Zeke A and the Premium Slack asking, and again, the Premium Slack is part of our offerings at awesemo.com. If you want to get 1 week free as well, because if maybe you don't win our many giveaways, go use the promo code Live Before Lock right now. You get all the ownership projections and rankings from Awesemo, as well as stuff like the Premium Slack, Josh's projections for NBA, and a bunch of other stuff. Projections for NFL too from Hot Magic, Andrew Barron. So go check that out now. Do you mind giving your thoughts on Barkley Kamara or run CMC on FanDuel for tourney today? What do you think about those three higher priced backs today, Josh?
I greatly prefer Barkley relative to ownership. I still have a lot of McCaffrey. I don't have as much Kamara right now. But I think Barkley is the guy that I want out of everybody on FanDuel if we're right and his ownership is under 20%. It makes me nervous. Odell being out actually kind of makes me more nervous. You can only put Barkley in the play so many times, but he's got to do everything. And I'm not really fond of his opponent today, so go Barkley.
Yeah, I didn't play as much Barkley this week because I kind of prefer Ezekiel Elliott as a play overall. I get that he's one who's going to have to do anything, but I kind of feel like that game just becomes a slog a little, and maybe it's not. I don't know. What's our ownership on Barkley?
On FanDuel, 17.
He's only. I don't know that we got a full update yet. I don't know. I would hope we have one more, but Barkley's only 12% on DraftKings, so maybe it's not the best move.
We got an update fairly recently. Like this morning, while I was on while the game plan was on.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, now he's up a little bit. So it's still only 14%. So he only went up 2%. Yeah, that's tough. What's Ezekiel Elliott at? Okay, Elliott's at 20%. All right, so that's not the right. So I went with the chalk play there. I think I'm contrarian enough with my Josh Allen where I can afford to go to Ezekiel Elliott. But
yep, I think you'll be fine there.
I'm sure it's going to be a great day. No, I don't know. Elliott's got a better opportunity, I think. And he's a little cheaper, and you don't have to score a lot versus Mark Sanchez. And I just kind of worry it's like a 14-10 game.
Mark Sanchez, man. Why is he in the league?
Do you have one Mark Sanchez lineup this week?
I probably do.
I have one. I have one where he just worked at 4K. I was like, all right, one shot for old USC.
I don't, thank God.
We got Quamination in the Premium Slack asking, would you go Sutton and Kelsey or Hopkins and Vance McDonald for a DK GPP?
You got it.
What? Oh, I got it. You don't even want to talk about it? That's fair. I'll go. That's actually a tough one. I did say Sutton was my favorite of the week, and then I ended up making lineups, and I played much more Sutton than I wanted to. So I'll go Hopkins and McDonald, but
I'll go for Sutton and Kelsey. When in doubt, bet on the good tight end.
McDonald's in a good spot, but no, I have a lot more Kelsey than McDonald and a lot more Sutton than Hopkins. So I'm just telling you to do what I'm not doing, basically. That's how you get tournament ahead in tournaments, is just do what I don't do. Yeah, Sutton I think is good to run back with Wilson. That's sort of where I landed with my lineups. What are we doing? What are we doing with the Wilson Samuels conundrum?
I'm not on Wilson with any sort of volume. And by any sort of volume, I mean anything other than 1%. Samuels, on the other hand, I have in basically everything.
What was the difference between them for you?
So Wilson is 5,600 on FanDuel. Samuels is 46. It's just kind of like a different play. I don't see him as that great of a value, particularly in this matchup. So for Samuels against Oakland, 4,600. There's not a lot of ways where that kills me. Similar to like Spencer Ware last week, just kind of a different play.
Yeah, no, the Spencer Ware one was a tough one. I think so. To me, the Spencer Ware experience and I feel like, well, I mean, we had Murray earlier this year for the Vikings as well. And I'm trying to think what's one other really big noteworthy cheap running back failure we've had. I feel like there's one more I'm forgetting.
Who had injuries?
Like about my memory, like a PTSD thing.
Gus Edwards 3 weeks ago? No,
I don't think he got that chalky, but there's one other one who like completely failed in a spot. And I feel like we've gotten to a point with that where now people are like, this asshole, I can't trust him. And I think Jeff Wilson looked really good, like both in the game, and I did watch his North Texas highlights just to kind of get a better feel for him. And he's used a lot in the screen game, a lot with short passes, and that's what they've been really trying to push with Nick Mullins. And I think it could work too because the Broncos are kind of blitzing harder and going after the quarterback with a little more gusto. So not great for Nick Mullins, but I do think that Wilson get into space, and I ended up having more of him than Samuels, but they're 3,800 and 3,700 on DK.
It's good you got into that North Texas film. I'm sure that's incredibly appropriate when translating performance to the NFL.
They were playing.
You'd be better off using those fucking Madden highlights too.
So far, you're getting North Texas highlights and Josh Allen's Madden.
You won't find these takes anywhere else, folks.
Probably for good reason, but no, you know what? It all comes together in the mosaic that is how I view the football analysis. No, I like Jeff Wilson. I like Samuels too. I guess my concern with Samuels is just there were so many different directions you can go there, where for the Niners, I don't know they have as many directions. And I actually think Marquise Goodwin will help that out a little bit too, because they at least have to cover downfield. Get some Jeff Wilson in there, Josh. Get a little spice up Jeff Wilson in your life.
Yeah, he's not a good enough value for me right now. Like I have more Justin Jackson than Jeff Wilson. I have more Samuel, so I'm running out of cheap guys that I can play.
What about Justin Jackson versus Austin Eckler?
I'm with the field on Eckler, and I'm double the field on Jackson.
I am under the field on Jackson because I think a lot of people saw that Sunday night game and think he's like a lock. And I think he's a good play, but I think Eckler is the better play. And I also think that Samuels and Wilson are better plays than Jackson, which is going to be the hill I'd die on this week.
Jackson's $100 cheaper than Samuels on FanDuel. And then still like $1,200 or whatever more, or cheaper than Wilson.
Yeah, I kind of wish I'd made more for DK, more Samuels, Wilson, and Jackson lineups. I think I only have one, and it kind of seemed like a nice spot to be in, just to be a little different, because I don't think people are going to play all three, and then you can afford a couple of the higher priced wide receivers who all look good. Again, we talked about those guys in that 7K to 8K range on DK.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm updating the 100-yard sheet while we talk. Kenny Golladay didn't get there last week, right?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so. Hey, neither did Aaron Jones, so don't worry. What a cock that was.
Kenny Golladay, 8 targets, yay, 3 catches for 50 yards.
Ugh, that's upsetting.
Asshole.
The Aaron Jones one did not make me feel great. That whole game, I was so happy. I guess I wasn't so happy. I was relieved that Mike McCarthy got fired, because I think that makes Aaron Jones at least a little less frustrating. That was such a...
He should have got fired 4 years ago. So kudos to him for squeezing out a couple extra million.
Yeah, Green Bay's too Midwest nice, where they were just like, we don't want to fire him. Like, that's rude. Just kept him around for 4 more years.
Let's
see who else is highly in. Chris Godwin. What are we doing with him this week?
I wish I were not playing him the same as I do every other week, but I've got quite a bit. As much as the field, he's pretty chalky. He might be the chalky. Yep, he is the chalkiest wide receiver on FanDuel, which is fine by me. I'm at least with the field. It's a fantastic spot if you are any believer in that game staying close.
So I'm taking the brave take, which did not pay off last week, which sucked because I had a ton of Adam Humphries and people did not have quite as much of him. I did not play them together. Like, I barely played them together, maybe 1 or 2 lineups. This week though, I am mostly off of Chris Godwin again. his price is up now. He's still the highest owned wide receiver, projected highest owned wide receiver. I think Mike Evans is in a much better spot this week, and he did go off versus the Saints earlier this year. And I think Humphrey's, again, a better spot in the slot there. So I think there are credible reasons this week to fade Godwin, but I also thought that last week. So I don't.
Okay.
I'll ride or die with it, but I'm not playing a lot of Godwin, and I'd rather have Humphreys, I think, again.
What's their price points on DraftKings?
Both at 4,900, both Godwin and Humphreys.
Okay, so Humphreys is 6,500 on FanDuel, and Godwin is 5,600.
Okay, so that is
Evans 7,700 if you want the full picture.
Interesting.
So like Humphreys is essentially like a complete no-go for me.
Yeah, no, that's fair at that price. Evans to me though is really undervalued. I think people are not paying enough attention to Evans, and people just assume he's bad now when he just hasn't. He's had a couple of tough matchups, but I think he had 180 yards earlier this year versus New Orleans.
I've been trying to force in a little bit more.
Yeah, I think it's a good move. Like he's at, what's his ownership on DK right now? I don't know why everybody also texts me during the show. Like it's the one time I do anything during the day, and I just get a barrage of texts this time of day.
Just dick pics, dick pics on dick pics.
That's what I asked for. That's actually my subscriber. I subscribe to Dick Pic Quarterly, and they just ironically they said you text daily. Mike Evans 6.1% on DK. It's too low. Who else is too low? Who else is too low on FanDuel? Too low owned.
Too low owned?
Yeah.
Juju maybe, even though he's 15%. I love him today.
You are 1 for 1 on your Juju takes.
Yeah, he doesn't get enough love. He's $1,300 cheaper than Antonio Brown. Similar ownership. Just give me Juju all day there. Who else do I think is too low owned? Nobody really.
Okay, I think Vance McDonald is maybe a little too owned. I don't have a ton of him, but 6% seems fair. But I think 10% would be what I would want to see out of. Matchup versus open.
Saquon Barkley, I think, is too low owned. 17%. He's a full 10% behind McCaffrey, Elliott, Kamara. So that one's really surprising to me. David Johnson is a guy that I'm a lot over the field on. Only 9% owned on FanDuel. I'm going to into the 20s. Not entirely sure why. Like this feels like a really good spot for him to have a good game. The Lions aren't very good. He's only 7,000 on FanDuel, which is where is he at? That's 9th in total salary. If it's him or Mixon, Sony Michel, Kerryon Johnson, like David Johnson there's nothing to stop him from having a monster game today. Outside of the fact that Arizona's bad.
Yes, but Detroit is also very bad defensively. So I think if you are that is a bad versus bad situation, which is fine. And also, Silva pointed this out yesterday on the contrary too, with how it actually is kind of a thing where guys will complain and then it'll result in more touches in like the red zone the following week. And he did get some scores scooped by Chase Edmonds in very frustrating ways, and I'm sure it did not go unnoticed by both David Johnson and the coaching staff.
Also, George Kittle is 7% as a tight end, which isn't necessarily anything crazy, but he gets so many targets that, if that sort of just breaks for him, the opportunity is there. He's a guy that I'm over the field on.
That seems reasonable to me. Yeah, Juju is also under-owned here on DK, 7%. I have some of him. Who else? Who else looks good on DK? Josh Allen, of course, under-owned. Actually, Josh Allen appropriately owned, 5%. It seems fair. Jarvis Landry, to me, a little under-owned, 3.6%. I know people are tired of him. People feel like they've got burned by him, but this is a slot matchup for him where Carolina gets beaten by the slot pretty much every single week, and Jarvis is getting the targets.
Yeah, I feel like he's a really good season-long wide receiver and not a good daily fantasy receiver. It's so hard for me to believe that I'm going to be upset that I didn't have him in a lineup, but he's like fine. Like I would want to know that I had him each week because the floor is so high. But somehow it's like that weird room where in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory where like they walk towards the back and like the floor and the ceiling are really close to each other.
Yeah, I could see that. He hasn't had an explosive day this year. I mean, at least not in a handful of weeks. I think if he's going to have one, this is the week to do it. And Sort of depends on how much Carolina scores, but I think Carolina should be able to put up points. So I don't know. I like Landry. Galladay too, with the same ownership percentage, 3.6% on DK. A little interesting.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Question in Slack. So on FanDuel, Sutton and Godwin are the same price. Do you think they have similar ceilings, or does one stand out?
I have them essentially equal. They're equal in Alex's rankings. I have similar exposure. I'm just playing both of them. If you're asking me which one I prefer, it's probably Godwin, just because I don't think that Denver is like fantastic offensively. The matchup's great. San Francisco sucks, but I would feel more comfortable with Godwin.
I would feel more comfortable with Godwin, but I think I'd be, Sutton is not as chalky, I would presume.
29% for Godwin, 21% for Sutton. So by all accounts, equal.
I guess I play Godwin, but I'm on DK. I'm definitely playing much more Sutton than I am Godwin, even though I really hate that when I have a take on Saturday on the show and I'm like, yeah, like fade that guy, and I just do my laps. I'm like, oh, I guess I'm not fading that. It makes me feel dishonest, but it's not. Like, it's just part of the process. I kind of some things pivot and change to me as we go. It's all very malleable. You have to be malleable.
You do have to be malleable.
Any Sony Michel love?
Let me see. Is the wife playing him in fantasy today? She needs a miracle. She's playing him, so yeah, I have a little bit of love, but I don't believe that I'm all that interested.
I think it's a decent spot for him and James White, but I only played one James White lineup, and I'm not playing Sony Michel. And DK, I feel like it's hard because Sony Michel's not going to get any catches, but he can get 20 touches, and I don't hate it, and it's definitely contrarian.
Like, I don't have either guy.
What was that?
I don't have either guy.
Oh, really? Okay, that's fair. You have Eckler though, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like Eckler, Michel, like those are guys who are just nobody's talking about or nobody really looked at that seriously, and those guys have pretty good potential in front of them to do that. Oh, 100-yard time. Who are we doing? You are in the lead, I think, by one still after we both missed last week on Aaron Jones and Kenny Galladay. But what are you doing this week?
It's worked before, and I'm going back to it again. Give me Juju.
I fucking knew you were going to go Juju. It's going to hurt if you win this because of Juju, because he is a USC guy, and one of my favorite USC guys of the last few years, of which there have not been many.
Yeah, I hope it hurts then.
I'm gonna go Davante Adams. I like the bounce back spot with McCarthy deposed.
I made a so like clearly I understand why Davante Adams is a good play today.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I've heard a lot of people being like, "Oh, because Mike McCarthy is gone, I think Davante Adams is in line for a big game." Is there any scenario where like Aaron Rodgers is going into the huddle like, "Oh, well, I can't throw it to Davante Adams today because Mike McCarthy's the coach"? Isn't he already like the main guy that Aaron Rodgers is looking for? What could possibly change in 7 days that Rodgers is suddenly going to be looking at Davante Adams in a different way?
I think it would just be more passing volume and maybe more depth of target for Davante. I mean, Davante, it's right. You're right that his usage has been as steady as anybody. I think to me the thing more is you're banking on the offense overall. Like I think Rodgers is playable this week with Adams, whereas before I would be more inclined to one-off Adams. And I think also I think it's a week where you could do Adams, Jones, and Rodgers. Or I mean, I guess if you want to do Jimmy Graham, I think that's also credible, even though I'm not doing that. But I think that's sort of what you're hoping with. Like it's more of a rising tide lifts all ships thing rather than a just like, oh, Adams' opportunity is going to be so great. So that's sort of how I'm viewing it.
That's fair. I understand.
And Adams is so great too, where like theoretically, like he could be greater if everybody else is better. And like maybe they're moving the ball, but then because he's also the red zone guy too, he gets the most targets by far there. So if he has like a same 100-yard game but 3 touchdowns, or even 2 touchdowns, like that's much better than the 100-yard game and 1 touchdown he's been getting. That's the hope. We'll pray. We're praying for you, Davante Adams. Keep your head up.
Yeah, like Chris Taylor in chat says, Rodgers will call plays to get Adams the ball more. Rodgers is head coach today. Yeah, he could have done that forever. What were they going to do? What was the downside for Aaron Rodgers being like, now I'm going to try to get the ball to my best offensive player? I think he's already trying to do that shit.
it's more like a thing where it's like a weight lifted off his shoulders, where now Rodgers was maybe in a loveless marriage for a while, and he's also a kind of a mercurial guy. He's fighting with his own family and stuff, and I think there's sort of a thing there where the hope is his happiness will somehow lead to success, and that is not a football reason, but I think that's a narrative reason that I kind of buy into.
I think we're much more likely to see someone else be the giant beneficiary of McCarthy being gone. Like if we find out that Rodgers really likes Jimmy Graham or really likes Equanimous St. Brown or something stupid. I feel like getting someone from the bottom to like the middle or top of a targets list is the jump we see because McCarthy's gone, not just Davante Adams. Now, I'm saying all of this. I like Davante Adams. I'm over the field. I think he's a great play. But that has nothing to do with McCarthy being out. I see him being out as more of a shakeup than just liking the top guy.
I think that's fair. There's one dude who got hurt in the preseason who Aaron Rodgers was pumping up a lot. Jake Kummerow, who's like a very traditional Green Bay white wide receiver who works well out of the slot and is kind of sneaky athletic. I feel like he's a guy who maybe could get bumped up a little bit. So I think your logic is sound there. I think I'm just hoping like a happier offense is going to be more successful. And they're also getting a fantastic matchup versus Atlanta, which is better than they've had in the last few weeks. So, cumulative effects, I think, are what you would hope for. But I think your take is pretty valid, and especially with Adams at a pretty big price up too. He's one of the higher priced guys at the position. Maybe it's not as much of a leverage point as people are acting like it is. Any Zay Jones love for you?
No, not for me.
I'll tell you. Two people in the chat asking. So the Bills Mafia growing by the minute, by the hour. I am playing some Zay Jones. I am playing some Zay Jones solo and some Zay Jones with Josh Allen. So there we go.
I'm good.
I hope this ends up like last week, where you end up ruining this when you're like Aaron Rodgers and then Josh Allen. Josh Allen took your words personally and he put it on his cork board, and then he got motivated. Bulletin board.
I can't wait to pick up my phone at 1:15. I don't even know what time the Buffalo and the Jets game starts, but I can't wait to immediately see the Josh Allen to Zay Jones for 85-yard touchdown. Meanwhile, I smash my phone.
It's ridiculous how deep he throws the ball. Like he throws it. I mean, that's the caveat is that he throws it so recklessly. Like somebody yesterday in the chats called him an unmanned fire hose.
Yeah, I like that quote. You know who doesn't throw it far? Cam Newton.
His shoulder's not great. Are you playing him though?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
1%. So by all accounts, no. I'm under the field at a low number. Yeah. When they have to tag you out to throw the Hail Mary because the first one you throw lands at the 25, it's not good. Not good at all.
While we're talking about Cam, there is a Thrive fantasy prop bet on Cam right now. And again, Thrive is presenting this show. They are a fantastic app which allows you to use prop bets to get out of the field in a daily fantasy sports situation. They have a prop bet on Cam Newton over 20.5 completions. Would you go over or under on that one, Josh?
20.5 completions.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta take the over there. I don't like it though.
I would think if anything, his shoulder could result in more completions, just shorter ones.
That's what my thought process was.
Yeah, I would go over too.
Although he strikes me as the type of guy to keep throwing it downfield just poorly.
That is actually a pretty good distillation of the Cam Newton experience.
Yeah. If it was 20.5, if the total was 20.5 inches from the base of his hat after the game to the top, I might take the over.
Well, that seems fair. I'll take the over anyway. Go to Thrive Fantasy now. Pick the over if you are going to play in their tournament. They have a couple of big ones going right now. And again, it's $10 on any $10 deposit, $20 for any $100 deposit, and $50 for any $200 deposit or more. No slow release. You get it right away. So you get that quick fix, quick hit, like putting a medicine under your tongue. So go get that now.
That's what we're putting under our tongue. Medicine. I mean, it should be medicine, but it's not yet.
protein shakes too. Randy Orton actually would take a scoop of protein straight from the thing and put it under his tongue, so he would get that protein right away.
Yeah, I'm confident that's not at all how food works.
No, it gets into your system faster because you got the what's it?
You don't put protein into your system faster by hiding it under your tongue.
No, the powder, protein powder.
Just I'm well aware.
No, I'm telling you, if it works for Randy Orton, it works. He poops in people's bags.
Yeah, Randy Orton totally wasn't on steroids either.
No,
am I gonna have to go put my Randy Orton t-shirt on now that we're talking about him?
And do the pose while the golden shower trickles behind you.
I'm doing the pose.
Okay, I can't. I'm on delay when I see you, so I can't. That's good.
I hit my wall.
I also hit my wall doing it. So you got to really be able to extend for that Orton pose to really have your splendor fully acknowledged. Oh boy, what are your guys' top 3 defenses you are playing today? Chris Taylor asks.
The 3 that I have the most are Cowboys, Giants, Packers.
I am Giants and Chiefs. Lots of Chiefs today.
Chiefs. There you go.
I'm big on the Chiefs. I think they're
Chieves. Is that how they write it normally? The Kansas City.
Yes, the Kansas City Chiefs. I think look fantastic today. They've had 3 straight games. I think over 10 points. This is not a spot where I think they're not going to get 10 points at 2,300 on DK. I'm cool with that. Lamar Jackson will turn it over at some point. Even if he has a decent day, he'll turn it over at some point, and he'll get sacked a couple times. So I'll just take it.
Take it.
Chiefs. Team Chiefs.
Team Chiefs.
You playing any Chiefs on offense?
Let me open it up quick. I was going to ask you if you do most of your searching on the internet at Ask Chiefs.
No, that'd be Ask Chiefs.
I get it. Yeah, lots of Kelsey for me. That's mostly the extent of it. I'm not super interested in Spencer Ware, so I assume today is the day that he goes nuts instead of last week.
I am not playing any Spencer Ware this week, but I too agree with that sentiment. I have a ton of Kelsey though. I think it's a great Kelsey matchup.
I mean, everything's a great matchup for Kelsey. He's fucking incredible.
Well, I think people are thinking that this is a week to go back to Tyreek because they all saw last week where he dropped a couple bombs and he could have had a big day, and it all went to Kelsey. But I think the Ravens are probably going to cover him the same way they did Julio, and I think that's enough for a reason for me to not want to go to Hill because I just don't think he's going to blow the top off.
Yeah,
and yeah, I think it's a Kelsey week.
How much do you love Keenan Allen today? Because he's the guy that I love the most.
I like him quite a bit. I don't like him as much because he's like the second highest owned wide receiver on DK, and I'd rather go to Eckler a little more. But I think he's a great play. I went to Mike Evans over him a couple times just to differentiate, but I think I have no issue with him, and I have a ton of him.
Okay.
Yeah, Keenan Allen looks good. I mean, the thing is too that he's not. I think people also think not based on ownership, but in general, there's sort of a train of thought that I've heard in a couple shows where they're like, yeah, you know. There needs to be like an active game until the fourth quarter because he's just going to get 10-yard passes. They feed him early and often now instead of like that way they were approaching it earlier in the year because he did complain about getting the ball and now he's been getting the ball regularly. So I think the issue to me is more like, are you playing him with Eckler? Are you playing him solo? Are you playing him in a stack with Rivers? And I like that Rivers Eckler Allen stack quite a bit.
Cool.
No Josh Jackson though in that stack. Justin Jackson, sorry. No Josh Jackson either. He's always a bust when he's chalk.
Yeah, I was like, damn it, I don't even want to think about a garbage NBA slate.
Let's see. Oh, good. Spam.
I beat you to it.
Oh, damn it. Who has better game, Luck or Rodgers?
Let's see. I have absolutely no luck. Whether Andrew or otherwise. So my answer, I guess, is Rodgers. However, I mean, Andrew Luck there's no reason he can't have a good game, but I would prefer Rodgers. They are separated by $200 on FanDuel. I don't know what the DK difference is.
Well, while we're making pro wrestling references, CM Punk once famously said and tattooed on his body that luck is for losers. So just feel good about that, Josh.
Luck is for winners. That's the thing.
It's actually true. He meant like hard work overcomes luck. But yeah, on its face, not the best statement, not the most accurate.
You need them both.
Yeah, but I would also go Rodgers. I think I like the plays with luck. Like Eric Ebron, I think is one of my favorite plays on the slate, especially if people are going to be. That's why. But 16 targets last week.
Oh, I have him. I hate having him.
Oh, it's going to be terrible. He's going to be very frustrating, and he'll probably put together a decent day by the end of it all. But it's going to be a real frustrating journey, I'm sure.
I would imagine.
But somebody had a question. No, whatever. Probably wasn't that good. Got the premium Slack going now. I'm tagged on something I can't see. Oh, just a video link to a Snickers commercial. But thanks, Chris A. Great googly moogly. Sure. I don't know what that's in reference to.
That's a good commercial.
I just don't know what we said that deserved a great googly moogly. But
I have no idea.
Could be a litany of things.
16 minutes to go, people. Get your shit in.
What games have we not talked about? What about the New Orleans side? What are you doing with Kamara? What are you doing with Breeze? What are you doing with Michael Thomas?
Playing them. Now, I'm with the field on Kamara and Thomas, and I'm a little bit over on Traquan Smith. It's really hard for me to not at least want to be with the field here. Tampa, there's no sign that weather is going to be an issue, and if that's the case, Tampa's defense is just putrid. So I will comfortably be with those guys. Breeze is not someone that I normally get to a ton. I have a little bit, but I'm under the field.
Yeah, I forced some Breeze in because I think he might get some nice little dump offs to Kamara, and we are due for some Michael Thomas positive regression at some point, I would think. It is a really good matchup. The thing that worries me with Breeze, though, is he could always end up throwing touchdowns to like two random assholes, and that always is frustrating in stacks.
When you get that pop up, it's like touchdown, Keith Kirkwood. And you're like, fuck.
It's all like created characters who he's throwing touchdowns to, or Make-A-Wish kids, like you said that one time, which made me laugh.
I'm happy. Maybe we'll get that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, Drew Brees Make-A-Wish kid, one touchdown on. What other games? Oh, let's talk more about Indianapolis and Houston overall, because I know people have touted this game quite a bit, and I don't know that I see it as being as great of a spot as some people seem to think about it, but I've heard a lot of requests of wanting to talk about it. So you're not crazy about luck. What about the Houston side with Watson? He's been practicing in full, apparently closer to full health.
Watson, I have a lot of. I'm with the field on DeAndre Hopkins. I have a little bit of Demaryius Thomas. And then because I have so much Watson, that's where my Ebron ownership goes. I don't really have anything else from the Indy side.
T.Y. Hilton looks good to me too, but I didn't really get a lot of him today. I'm with you on Hopkins. I didn't play a lot of Watson. I think I mostly just took Ebron and Hopkins from this game, which I'm okay with. I think both those guys look really good, but everybody else, I could live without.
Speaking of Watson, do you want to see that new John C. Reilly, Will Ferrell joint?
I got to see reviews first. I feel like because it could be really bad, but I'm cautiously optimistic, I guess I would say. Is that in your wheelhouse?
Not really, not anymore. For John C. Reilly, yes. For Will Ferrell, no. I'm tired of watching Will Ferrell play the same role in every movie. Here we go. I'm actually slob all over him because he's the USC guy. Go ahead.
No, I'm actually with you on that. I think it's a little tedious sometimes, but I think the hope would be that they capture that Step Brothers magic. But I
don't need him to play Brennan while he's also playing Sherlock Holmes.
Maybe he'll play like a more. I mean, he should be intelligent theoretically to play the character. I don't think that. Maybe it'll be different. Maybe it'll be a departure for him.
I don't know. I'm just waiting for him to lick a different colored dog crap.
I wonder sometimes how like the younger people view Will Ferrell, because I feel like if I grew up with him, I would view him as like Adam Sandler, where it's like, oh, like cool, I like the first few movies, and every single one of them after them, like, all right, we get it. Baby
That's how I feel about both of those people. I like 3 of the things they did 15 years before the current stuff. Give me some Billy Madison, give me some Happy Gilmore, and then don't give me anything else. Well, Big Daddy, but that's a different sort of movie. Other than that, don't give me anything.
I would agree. Back to football, because I like this question. Charles Rivera, how do you feel about Tyler Boyd? I like Tyler Boyd quite a bit. Not playing a ton of him, but I'm definitely a little over the field. I think if you're playing a stack of Chargers, I think it's very smart to run it back with Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, because I have so many Chargers, Tyler Boyd has become like that sort of guy to me to have.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it because I don't like Cincinnati at all. This does strike me as the type of game where you kind of want to have some Cincinnati. Chargers are notoriously playing down to their competition, so hopefully they keep the game close. That's great for Allen and Eckler and Jackson and the Williams brothers. And then anything coming back on Cincinnati.
Yeah, I think that if you are going to run it back, like Joe Mixon is pretty comparably owned to Tyler Boyd, but and I don't hate him either, but I didn't play him. The Boyd, I think he's on the field as much as pretty much anybody in the league right now. The air yards are there, his targets are there, so I think they're going to probably be behind. I also don't hate Cody Core as a super cheap play. I think I have like one or two of them.
Fair enough.
Cody Core vibing with my boy Jeff Driscoll. So this is actually could be a week where Jeff Driscoll goes off, but I didn't play him. Not goes off, but goes off relative to Jeff Driscoll. I didn't play him though, and that kind of worries me a little bit now. I'm thinking about it.
It probably should. I'm not serious.
You're like, I'm actually loaded up on Jeff Driscoll this week, ironically enough.
No, I'm certainly not.
Our boy EMAC, by the way, has a free article on the Osmo.com homepage right now for the Sunday night football game. So he had the Showdown slate. EMAC does a breakdown for every one of those. Go click that. Go read it if you are going to degenerate that slate. When you win all the money you win during the main slate NFL, go check that out. And keep your eyes peeled for my Showdown video, which I'm going to probably do once we finish this and post later tonight as though I did it at night.
I'm so hungry right now.
Eat your hand.
If you had to eat a hand, which one would you eat?
Left hand.
Yeah, I feel like that's the normal answer because I'm righty, but I use my left hand. Probably. Never mind. Ezekiel Elliott, man. What do you think? What do you think of Ezekiel Elliott today?
I love him. I think he's a strong play. He put up 40 points versus the Eagles earlier this year, and that's not as a point chase reason, but I think it's just a good matchup for him. The Eagles were giving up, I think, over 5 yards per rush. Yes, they are giving up over 5 yards per rush. So sort of where you want to be with Ezekiel Elliott. Home game too. Either way the game script breaks, he's going to be fine. So Team Zeke.
I'm with you.
Who else? What else have we not talked about? I think we've hit on everything. I think now we can just sit here for the next 10 minutes.
Grab some either ors and questions and shit.
I'd prefer just to sit here in silence, but sure, we could do that.
I mean, if we're talking about actual preferences, we could just sign off.
Opinion on Ty Montgomery. I find him a little interesting, but I didn't play him. What about you, Josh?
I don't have any.
He was getting targeted, but I don't see the ceiling there, and that would be where I land with that fat Jesus, whose name I appreciate every time he gets a call out. Tim Patrick revenge narrative. Are you on the Tim Patrick revenge train today for the Broncos?
No, I must not have got tickets for that one.
Yeah, no, you got to have a really bad quarterback throwing to him to get there, and Cortland Sutton is a much more viable target. So I do have one Case Keenum stack. I will say that with Sutton and Matt Lacoste.
There you go, man. There you go. Good luck.
My only Matt Lacoste lineup.
Good luck.
It's on the field for a ton of snaps. He just didn't run routes. Are you team routes or roots?
I don't know. Now that you said it like that, I don't really know what my go-to is. I think route.
Okay. Route's right. I think route's right.
So my problem is that it's very much route in soccer. If you're playing like really quickly from back to front, it's called route 1.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Huh. I feel like I say route for everything, like even like highways. Like
yeah, I stick to like the proper country. So like if it's soccer based, I'm going route. If it's NFL based, it's route.
All right, I respect that. Oh, spam. Got him. Take that, Sonny Leone. Also, isn't that's a porn star name, I believe.
If you would know.
Not one in my wheelhouse, but I just recognize the name. Lacoste is back and Roto Grinders guy. Wow, spam coming hot and heavy. This one not by a fake porn star.
Wish it was from a real porn star.
That'd be sad if they
give her the spam.
Spam you out. Spam a delicacy in Hawaii, by the way, in case anybody out there didn't know that.
I don't think it's just Hawaii. Speaking of Hawaii, shout out Max Holloway. Put the fucking thumping on T-City last night.
Yeah, I didn't watch UFC. But...
Ooh. You should watch the Max Holloway fight if you get a chance. He beat the brakes off of T-City, but T-City stayed in it. Completely shut his left eye at the end of the fourth, and they had to stop the fight.
Interesting.
Yeah,
okay. I feel like I'm a main card UFC guy. Like if there's a big headliner fighting, then I'll watch. But
I mean, Max Holloway is one of the 5 best fighters on the planet.
Okay, I'll update my records accordingly.
He landed like 200 plus significant strikes in four rounds. Like he did not stop throwing over and over and over and over and over again. It doesn't slow down. So you'll be captivated if you want to watch it.
That's crazy stamina to be able to do that. I used to box when I was younger, and I did MMA for a little bit as an adult. Like obviously not at any sort of high level, but like that's just exhausting to throw that many punches, especially like high level punches.
He threw
and kicks.
He just didn't stop throwing.
That's great. That's good training for him. Much better than a lot of dudes. I feel like I just get blown up fast.
That's his thing, man. People can't keep up with him. He starts off on a huge pace, and all he does is turn it up.
Matt One Millie asking, "Are you off Lindsay today?" Which you were not on Lindsay last week, right?
I wasn't, and I'm also still not there today.
I was there last week. I'm not there today. I don't think it's a great matchup for him. Can you do fave by position real quick? We don't really do that, but I guess who are your favorite QB? Yeah, give me your favorite QB, Josh.
Guys, I have the most of Jameis, Watson, Roethlisberger, Rivers, Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson.
What about running backs?
Jalen Samuels, Zeke, Barkley, McCaffrey, Justin Jackson, David Johnson, Kamara, Chubb, Eckler.
I agree with that list, minus Chubb plus Jeff Wilson.
Everybody I just listed are the only guys that I have, by the way.
Ooh, so if you want to steal Josh's player pools, now's the time. You got 4 minutes. Wide receivers.
Keenan Allen, Sutton, Juju, Godwin, Davante Adams, Michael Thomas, DeAndre Hopkins, and then everybody else is like 10% or less.
And tight ends.
Kelsey, Kittle, Ebron, Jared Cook.
All right, there you go. That's just for you, Mike Specia, in the YouTube chat. We never go position by position here because it's more of a free-flowing show. We like to color outside of the lines here.
I don't like the color.
Racist.
That's not how I said that.
People talking about Tevin Coleman in the chat. Tevin Coleman is getting to be a worst play by the week. I think he got outsnapped by Smith last week, actually. Outtouched and outsnapped, possibly. Or definitely outtouched. I'll actually look that up now because I'm curious. I did not play any Tevin.
You'll like this, I think. I made a live scoring spreadsheet. Today's the last week before it goes to fantasy playoffs for my wife's leagues, and they have like 6 people fighting for the final 2 playoff spots. So I made a big Excel sheet to keep all of the projected scores for the day to live show you who's in and who's out.
Oh wow, that's pretty impressive. I don't even know how one would do that.
Well, I'm magic, man. It's like the only good thing that I'm actually good at.
Okay. How would one even update something live? I only know VLOOKUPs. When I learned VLOOKUPs, I was like, wow, I'm like a wizard.
There's just 10 cells that you just type in everybody's projected score, and it live updates the standings table and sorts and breaks ties if they have the same amount of wins. Yeah.
Interesting. Hey, Mike Dunn. Hey, Spags and E. Rosenlove. I can't play him. He's been so bad in even the most positive matchups. But if you were to play him, Trent Sherfield intrigues me a little as a stack candidate because he's going to get some of that Christian Kirk work. And Trent Sherfield looks as good as the Chiefs to me today, but I didn't play him.
What's with this new Chiefs gimmick?
I don't know. I feel like it should be Chiefs, and I don't actually say that, but I just like saying something silly sometimes just for the kick of it.
Have you eaten your Chick-fil-A yet?
I actually did get it yesterday, but Your payment to me is just going to go towards me having to pay fantasy football.
Fair enough.
But I did get it yesterday, though. Like, literally, I have a bag that I'm looking at on my counter that I have to throw out later.
Nice. There you go.
It was good. Oh, it's delicious. So thank you, Josh. Josh paid off his bets, by the way, in case anybody was wondering, because we did have a couple double up bets that Josh showed. So he did do it. He's a man of word and valor, and that's why you should all buy your Chubster 69316 shirts. It's going to be both. It's going to be both on both sides. All right, nothing else. Who are you regretting this week? Who's going to blow up? Who's going to ruin our day? I feel like for me, I'll go Jeff Wilson.
I mean, basically whoever I don't have. So who's going to ruin my day? Drew Brees, Pat Mahomes, Jeff Wilson, Aaron Jones, Philip Lindsay, Antonio Brown, Amari Cooper, Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans, Julio. These are all guys that are going to really jam one up me. Gronk.
See, to me, that probably shows where we are because, like, to me, I think about the guys who I rostered and I'm like, how are you going to fuck me, man?
Oh, no, I think about it the opposite way.
That's probably more of an optimistic view. Whereas for me, I'm just like, oh, yeah, I know one of you I was wrong on, and who is it going to be?
Here's a question for you. It's not going to matter now because we're going to lock in a minute. My wife had the toss up between, and this is a regular standard scoring league, Gus Edwards or Spencer Ware.
Probably Gus.
Okay, that's the direction I sent her just because there's too many other options for Kansas City. But if for the Ravens to stay in that, Gus is probably involved.
Yeah, I would agree. And it's a better matchup too, I think, on its face, whereas the Ravens one is just not that great. And she doesn't need to get contrarian there where I swear. What are we going to do? Like, if Spencer Ware has like a 30-point week, I'm just going to be really crestfallen, I think, about.
Yeah,
like,
I'm not going to be happy about it either. We locked.
We'll be baffled and upset. All right, we're locked. Somebody asking, do we play heads up every week and can they bet on it? We do not do that. I think we make enough lineups here. We don't need to dick measure against each other every week.
I would have said we could start next week, but I won't be playing next week.
Josh will be out next week. It'll be me and somebody, either Emac or our boy Nolan Kelly. So we'll find out. You'll find out when I do next Sunday. Yeah. So none of this. I'll say Chiefs less times potentially next week. We'll find out.
No Josh next weekend.
Sad. That's sad. But we'll be back on doing the NBA show on Tuesday, right? So that's good.
Oh, Ware greater than Edwards. I got one in the chat. I got one on my fucking wrist.
Ugh. I just need the chalk running backs to be okay this week. I can't deal with the emotional struggle.
I hear you.
All right, guys. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to like this video. Leave a comment telling us Josh Allen's stat line for the day. You'll be entered to win in our 24 days of giveaways. You'll win 1 month of any sport of your choosing at Osmo.com or any item from our merch store. It's a brand new merch store up at shop.osmo.com. Check it out. We have a bunch of cool items there that are not super ugly and you'll actually want to wear. So go check those out. And you'll also be entered to win the grand prize of an all-access pass for 1 year. It's every sport. You can win money with Jake Hari in NHL. You can use Josh's projections to win some money, Eddie's rankings, all the stuff you want. So like this video, leave a comment on the static version telling us Josh Allen's stat line. 500 yards and 7 touchdowns is what Madden told me. So just throw that in there. And any parting words, Josh, before we go watch football?
You lost me. Go play Thrive Fantasy.
Go play Thrive Fantasy. Thank you, Thrive. Go play Thrive. Go root for Josh Allen. And we'll be back. I'll be back next week. We'll be back in whatever.
Later.